So today, as requested by a lot of you guys in the comment section, I'm going to give an update on Nike stock and if I potentially could buy Nike stock, and can Nike stock actually 2x from the current share price. Now, when I last talked about Nike stock around about 3 weeks ago, the stock was around about $90 something, and at that time I said for me it needs to go cheaper. Now since then the stock has fallen quite a fair bit, and a lot of you guys have been asking, Jacob, now the stock has fallen, is it time to buy and are you buying the stock? So for you guys, here's the update, and as well as that, I'm going to also address the elephant in the room. Last time I talked about Nike, I had a lot of people in the comment section saying it's not Nike, it's Nike. Now at the moment I've got a UK audience and a US audience, and obviously there's a big difference between what the UK say and the US say. So I'm really sorry if you say Nike, but I'm going to go with Nike in this video. I apologise for the riot that I'm just about to cause in the comment section for that, but that's what's going to happen. Anyway, if you could, make sure you hit the like button because it really helps to get out on the YouTube algorithm. That's the big thing at the moment, and for me, the like button hasn't been smashed as what it normally is, and the videos haven't been getting out to as many people. So if you could, make sure you hit the like button. And apart from that, we'll take a look at Nike stock. So Nike stock, ticker symbol NKE, needs no introduction. It's a well-known stock, well-known brand. Everyone knows Nike. Obviously the clothing seller, the shoe seller, it's well known. It's one of those stocks that you don't really need that big introduction into. However, the stock price, not been good for them. The stock really peaked in 2021, around about $174-ish, and since that time frame it had a big fall off. It had a bit of a recovery though, but then has gone even lower, and we're actually down 58% at the moment since its all-time highs. So it's been a pretty tough kind of 2 or 3 years for Nike at the moment. We've not really seen that many big dips historically on Nike. Really the only big times that you could go to is, 2016 was a bit of a dip. The only really big standout one you're having to go back all the way to like 2008 and 2009 during the Great Recession, and even then the stock was only really down 30-40%. So this is a very big pullback for Nike's kind of levels. However, as you can see, there has been a very big share price performance in the last kind of few years. So maybe the stock just went a little bit too crazy too quickly. The stock is now 109 billion, which is obviously still a very good size. 90 times earnings, 2% dividend yield, so you will get a dividend with this stock. Now, I last talked about this stock 3 weeks ago, as you can see here. And when I talked about the stock 3 weeks ago, I was actually really surprised to see the stock was actually $94. So yeah, the stock has fallen massively since I last talked about it only 3 weeks ago. From $94 down to $72 is a massive pullback in that time frame. And when I talked about Nike last time, 3 weeks ago, obviously there's been a week update that's come out since then. But yeah, in that video I basically came out and said, look, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing at the moment the opportunity in the stock. I still think the valuation's quite rich for the problems that are going on. And I know a lot of people on the YouTube scene have been saying like they're buying it. For me, I was like, I've got to see it lower. And obviously now it's not only just gone lower, it's basically had another crash where it's fallen massively. So we've got to update now what's kind of going on. So we did get the earnings. I think I did a full video on the earnings, and the earnings were, in my opinion, pretty weak. Obviously negative growth is not good. The big surprising thing was the Nike direct revenues were down. It was actually the wholesale that was holding the business up. Like you probably want to see it the other way around. Like the direct sales is what you want. That's what you make the most money off. That's your best products and your branding power. And that's not what's going on at the moment. But at the same time, you have to be a little bit careful because you look at all the other brands here, and Burberry came out with an update this week, and they're seeing the situation getting worse for them. You look at Hugo Boss, the situation's getting worse for them. It's not just a Nike issue, it's a whole industry kind of issue. There's not really any kind of stocks in this space that are actually doing okay at the moment. These one we're going to look at the moment, but you can kind of understand why it's been a tough time for them. The only one that's breaking the trend is Adidas. Adidas actually came out with their earnings this week, and they actually raised its full year outlook and said Q2 was very good. They had 9% revenue growth, as you can see here, good gross margins, as you can see here, and yeah, looking very good at Adidas. But why is this one a little bit different to Nike? Well, the reason why is if you actually look at Adidas, only 2 years ago, everyone was talking about Adidas and saying, oh, Adidas is a stock that's struggling, and people saying, what does that mean for Adidas going forward? And the stock actually fell 68%, quite close to what Nike's actually on at the moment. And there was a lot of talk about Adidas, you'd buy Adidas, and since then the stock has actually gone and improved massively. The stock is up 168% from its lows, and even if you didn't catch the low, you're probably still doing quite well on the position of Adidas. Now, why did Adidas struggle during 2022? Well, a lot of it was to do with China, and we saw the weakness in China, but the big thing that happened with Adidas is the locations of sale. Adidas are a lot stronger in Europe and a lot weaker in America, whereas Nike is more stronger in America and a lot weaker in Europe. Now, in 2022, what happened in Europe? Well, in Europe, you had the whole Russia-Ukraine situation. You had a lot more of the interest rates that were affecting people. You had energy prices that were a lot more affecting people. So really, Adidas actually took their hard comps a year early because of their weakness in Europe. Whereas Nike were able to get through it a little bit because they had less exposure in Europe and America remained strong. Now, the difference is this time around, we are now starting to see the weakness in America this year, where it previously held up a lot stronger. So my feeling is that Nike is struggling a little bit more at the moment because compared to Adidas, because Adidas took the harder comps a year ago. Now Nike is taking those hard comps, which I think is, if you follow the Adidas story, as soon as they take the hard comps, then they have easy numbers, then the growth comes back, everyone's happy with Nike. And I think that will happen. Adidas has the brand, it will stay around, it redevelops itself, and that's what they've done. I think Nike in a year's time, 2 years' time, will go back to growth and everybody will go, maybe that was a dip. There's a lot of talk about competition. I do think there is a little bit of element that there is a bit of competition out there at the moment that wasn't there previously. That is something that I will point to, but I think the Nike brand will be around for many more years. And the thing that you had with Adidas as well is that the big thing that affected them wasn't just a sales point of view, it was just the sentiment around the stock. You went from a stock that previously traded more towards high 20s to 30 times earnings, and then because it had a little bit of a struggle in the financials, all of a sudden the market threw it down to over half of what it normally trades at, or even 20 times earnings. The stock market, or 16 times earnings, the stock market half the valuation, and it went, we're not going to trade you as much as a premium. The big thing why Adidas struggled is because the market went, we're going to throw you down at a lower multiple expansion, and that's why the share price lost quite a bit. Nike is exactly the same. All of a sudden we've gone from Nike that normally trades at 30 times earnings, and the market's gone, we're going to throw you down to 90 times earnings, and also there's that little bit of weakness going on. And I think if Nike does go back to the growth, all of a sudden the market will suddenly very quickly, just like what we've seen with Adidas. Adidas is now, what is Adidas? I've got it somewhere around here. Adidas has gone back up to a forward P of 95 times earnings. And the market has, with Adidas, as soon as it went back to good numbers, it went, whoa, we're not only going to put you back at a premium, we're going to put you back at the highest premium you've ever had. And the same thing happens with Nike. I feel like if Nike was to reinvent itself and come back with the good numbers, very quickly, the market would throw Nike from a 19 times multiple earnings back to the premium that it normally trades out of 30 plus times earnings because of the brand quality. So if it does get it right, I think very quickly you'd see Nike stock flick a switch, and I think the investors will speed back into Nike. The only issue that I have with Nike, in my opinion, is this the bottom of the earnings cycle for Nike, or is it going to take one more quarter, two more quarters, and you might get it a little bit cheaper? I think that's the big thing I think with Nike overall. But it's a good company. You look at the company, look at the shares they're buying back. Very big share buybacks going on. As you can see here, big share repurchases. They've still got about 8 billion under the share repurchase program for the stock. You're picking a 2% dividend yield up that is obviously going to get reinvested. Great track record of growing revenue and profitability, apart from the slump that they're currently going on. Balance sheet wise, there is 8 billion of debt on there, but they sit on 11 billion of cash, so they can pay the debt off overnight. So that for me is a very high quality balance sheet, and obviously they can return that to dividends to shareholders, and every year as well, like they're going to have that ability to have 5 billion to potentially throw at share buybacks or dividends. It's a great option. So it's a very, very good company, and I do believe it's just going through a tough time. Now, the big thing that stopped me from buying Nike last time, and I think if I go on to my last video, if we go here, is that when I showed you some numbers, and I was saying, like, even on the high side, like, I just don't see the upside. Like, even on the high side, I was only getting like 31% upside. It just wasn't enough for me. But obviously that was a lot different. That was at 122 billion market cap. Nike's now sitting at 109 billion market cap. It has lost a lot more value here. Now, when I start looking at the numbers now, they are starting to look a little bit more attractive. So same again, 3, 5, 7% revenue growth. I think Nike will be, you could argue the case that, Nike even goes to 10+% revenue growth. 10, 12% profit margins is realistically where I do think Nike will sit in the future. And at a 20 times earnings multiple, which I don't think it will trade at, because I think eventually when the numbers do come back, if they do these numbers, I think the market throws it back at more of a premium than what, like it normally does trade at. But on the mid side, it's not much, I guess, return. On the high side, you do get some okay return, but I don't think it's enough to get you into buying Nike. But like I said, for me, I think the company goes back up to a premium if they do these numbers again. And I think you see the company trade at more like 30 times earnings like it normally does. And as soon as you do that, I mean, the upside is there. The upside is coming back into Nike, as you can see here. Now, the other argument is if the growth does really turn to Nike, and you go from that 7% revenue growth up to more of a 10% revenue growth, there is very much that attractive upside starting to come into Nike. So when I look at the stock, only 3 weeks ago I was saying that there's got to be more upside here for me, and within one more update, I think we're kind of getting there. I am actually looking at Nike at the moment, and it's getting very tempting. I mean, the only thing that would really push me across the line now to buy Nike is just a little bit more upside. And where I mean a little bit more upside, the price I actually got to is around about $75. $75 would be very attractive for me. Obviously, that would put it around about 100 billion market cap. 100 billion market cap. I think the upside is really there. I think 65 is serious. 65 I'm buying. At 72, I'm just like, do I go for it now, or do I just pray just to get it that little bit cheaper? Do they have that one more bad update in them, and that bad update sends it to that $65 range, and then I get that really big upside that I want? Or do I buy half a position now and then see if it does hit that $65 and then add another half in? I don't think a brand like this you are going to get lower than 60. I'll be honest with you. I would be really surprised to see Nike go 60, but never say never. We've known that before. Never say never. But the fact that we are going back down to the prices we were at, I mean, when was the last time Nike was $72? And also factoring obviously the share buyback situation as well. The last time you were about this sort of levels was about 2018. I mean, as well as that, you're getting a nice dividend payer here at 2%. You've got the share buybacks, a good balance sheet, great brand. One of the biggest dips that Nike's ever been on. I've got to say, for me, guys, this is really starting to get tempting now. It's a total different picture to where we were a few weeks ago. I'm considering it. I'm definitely considering it at the moment. So don't be too surprised if I pull the trigger. It's not far away from where I'll 100% pull the trigger. My debate now is just, do I wait for it to get that a little bit lower, or do I just commit to half the position now? I don't know. It's definitely really big consideration territory for me now. So watch this space is what I'll say at the moment. Let me know in the comment section anyway what your thoughts on Nike. Are you a buyer? Do you want it a little bit lower? I think we all agree that it's a great company that is probably one of those that, if you would have said 2 years ago, if Nike ever lost 60%, I'd be buying, and then you get there and you think, do I get it a little bit lower? I don't know. So let me know in the comment section anyway. Hope you enjoyed the video on Nike, whatever. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. Make sure you hit that like button though, and I'll see you in a bit. I might try to do a video on Monday. We'll see what happens anyway, guys. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in a bit.